Hello children, let's come back to our maths class. Today we are going to continue with exercise 2.7. In the previous class we have covered two sums. Yes children, that is we have completed the first sum and the second sum from exercise 2.7. The first question dealt with changing the complex number into polar form, and the second question was changing the, what was that? The polar form into rectangular form. So these were the two conversions that we have seen in the previous class. Today we are going to continue with the third sum. Take down your classwork. Take down your classwork. Write down today's date. Write down the third question. Given x1 plus iy1, x2 plus iy2, xn plus iyn is equal to a plus ib, show that the first part, x1 square plus y1 square, x2 square plus y2 square, x3 square plus y3 square, xn square plus yn square is equal to a square plus b square. So you are going to write down the given part and you are going to take the first part. Do not take both the parts together. Let us prove the first part and later on we will take the second part. So write down the first part children. So sum number 3, the first part. Given, you have to take down, after writing the question, you have to write down what is given and what to show. So given x1 plus iy1, x2 plus iy2, xn plus iyn is equal to a plus ib. This is given to us. And we have to show x1 square plus y1 square, x2 square plus y2 square, xn square plus yn square is equal to a square plus b square. This is what we have to show. So we have taken the given part and also we have taken the to show part. Everyone, you have to write down the question separately. This is for the solution part. So take the given part and take the to show part. Okay, now we are just going to go for the solution part. Write down solution, or you can just write proof. Solution x1 plus iy1, x2 plus iy2, xn plus iyn, this is equal to a plus ib. So we are just going to start with the given part. Take down the given part. So now what are we going to do here is, we are going to take modulus on both the sides. Write down taking modulus on both sides. Taking modulus on both sides. So we have the LHS part and we have the RHS part. So we are going to take modulus on both the sides. So what do you get here? Modulus x1 plus iy1, x2 plus iy2, xn plus iyn. This is equal to modulus a plus ib. So what we have done here, we have just taken the modulus on both sides. Do the step children. Okay, we have seen the formula for modulus. We have studied, yes. What is the formula for modulus? It's square root of x square plus y square. Modulus z is square root of x square plus y square. Do you remember this children? Yes, so we are going to apply the formula for modulus. And before we apply the formula for modulus, we are going to give the modulus for everything separately. Okay, so you can just refer your properties children. Take down the property of modulus. Just find out the page. Yeah, it's given in page number 66. come to page number 66. You just see the point under properties of modulus of a complex number. That is, if you have modulus of Z1, Z2, if you have modulus of Z1, Z2, then it can be written as modulus Z1, modulus Z2. That is, you can give the modulus separately for each term. So now here we have taken the product together in the modulus sign. So now what are we going to do? We are going to apply the property of the modulus, and we are going to give a separate modulus sign for each term. So let's do that step, children. So you get here modulus x1 plus iy1. Again, I am going to give a separate modulus over here, x2 plus iy2 dot 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 xn plus iyn, and the RHS part remains the same. So modulus a plus ib. Okay, are you clear? You can just put here the property modulus z1 z2 is equal to modulus z1 modulus z2. Write down the property over there, children. Okay. So now we have given a separate modulus for all the terms. Now we can apply the formula for modulus. Let us apply the formula for modulus and let's see what we get over here. So modulus of x1 plus i1, that is, we have seen that z is equal to x plus iy, and if you are finding the modulus of z, you get the answer as square root of x square plus y square. That is, you are going to take the square of the real part and you are taking the square of the imaginary part. So what is the real part here? The real part is x1, and what is the imaginary part here? It's y1. So what you get here? Therefore, square root of x1 square plus y1 square. This is for the first term. Okay. Now, similarly, go for the next one. You put here into x2 square plus y2 square dot 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 xn square plus yn square, and this is equal to square root of a square plus b square. Okay, children, so we have just applied the formula for absolute value or modulus, one and the same. So you get square root of x1 square plus y1 square into square root of x2 square plus y2 square dot 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 square root of xn square plus yn square is equal to square root of a square plus b square. I hope you are able to see the step, children, there. Okay. Now what are we going to do? So now we have to remove the square root sign. So how to remove the square root sign? We can just square on both the sides. So when you square on both the sides, what happens is the square and the square root term gets cancelled. Suppose if you have like x1 square plus y1 square, and if you are going to square this, when you square this, the square and the square root term gets cancelled, and what will be left here? X1 square plus y1 square. I hope you are clear, children. Are you getting the step? Similarly, if you are going to square x2 square plus y2 square, that is, you are going to square the square root of x2 square plus y2 square, what happens? The square and the square root term gets cancelled, and only the terms will be left out. That is, x2 square plus y2 square will be left out. Similarly, we are going to follow for all the terms, and we are going to get the answer. So let's write on the step here. Write on the step, squaring on both sides. Squaring on both sides, we get x1 square plus y1 square, x2 square plus y2 square dot 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 xn square plus yn square is equal to a square. I just put here down. This is equal to a square plus b square. This is what we have to show. Yes, children? Yes. So we have shown. So hence, show. So we started with the given part, and very simple thing. We just we were taking what we did. We took modulus on both the sides. And once you take the modulus, you apply the property for modulus. What is the property we are applying over here? Modulus z1 into z2 will be like you can separate the modulus for both the complex numbers. So you get modulus Z1 separately and modulus Z2 separately. You have to apply the property, and after applying the property, you are going to use the formula for modulus. What is the formula for modulus? Square root of x square plus y square. So apply the formula. Once you apply the formula, you get this step. And now what are you going to do? You are going to square on both sides. So when you square on both sides, what happens? The square root and the square term gets cancelled, and you just get the required proof part. Yes, children? So we have completed the first sub part. Write down the answer, children. It's very simple. You have to just understand the concept. So just whenever you practice the sum, just have a habit of taking the note. I have already told you, just try to put a note over there. So this sum is to be done like this. This is a method to be followed over here. So if you just take a note, it will be easy for you when you just see the sum the next time. Okay, children? So just practice properly, children. Okay, now we are going to go for the second sub part. Write down the second question. So for the second sub part, I am going to write down the given part as it is. Okay. So first of all, you have to write down the given part. What is given? x1 plus I y1, x2 plus I y2, xn plus I yn is equal to a plus ib. This is given to us. And what are we going to show over here? We have to show summation. Write down here, to show summation r from 1 to n, tan inverse yr upon xr, summation r from 1 to n, tan inverse yr upon xr is equal to tan inverse b by a, tan inverse b by a, and also they have given you a condition, yes, plus 2k pi, yes children, yes, plus 2k pi, k belonging to z, plus 2k pi and k belonging to z. So this is the part that you have to show. So from this particular given part, you are going to prove the condition, that is summation r from 1 to n, tan inverse yr upon xr is equal to tan inverse b upon a plus 2k pi k belonging to z. Okay, children? Now let's go for the proof part. I'll just put here solution, and I'll just write down the given part once again. x1 plus I y1, x2 plus I y2, xn plus I yn is equal to a plus ib. For the previous case, that is for the previous part, we took modulus on both sides. Here we are going to take argument on both sides. So write down the statement over here. Taking argument on both sides. Taking argument on both sides. Okay. So let's apply argument on both sides. Very simple, like we are going to follow the same manner we have proceeded for our first subpart, but in that case we proceeded with the modulus sign, and here we are going to proceed with the argument, and also we are going to follow the property of argument over here. So let's start with the work here. So argument, and you write down all the term over here. So x1 plus I y1, x2 plus I y2 dot dot dot, xn plus I yn. So this is the LHS part. So I have given the argument for the LHS part. Similarly, you are going to give RHS also the argument. So argument A plus IB. So we have given the argument for the RHS part also. Are you clear with the first step, children? So what is the thing we have done over here? We have taken argument on both sides. So argument of x1 plus I y1, x2 plus I y2, xn plus I y1. xn plus I yn is equal to argument of a plus ib. Now just refer to the property of argument. Yeah, it was in page, we have just written in the previous class. Yes, children? Yeah, you have to just come to page number 77. Come to page 77. You see the first property under argument. If you have argument of z1, z2, it can be taken as argument of z1 plus argument of z2. So there is a difference between the modulus property and there is a difference in the property of argument. For modulus, how was the property? If you had modulus z1, z2, it will be taken as modulus z1 separately and modulus z2 separately. Yes, children? But now how is the property for argument? If you have argument of z1, z2, it will be written as argument of z1 plus argument of z2. Are you clear with the property? So there's a difference. So that's why I have told you, so whenever you prepare your sums, you have to just keep a note. You can just go on having a hint over there. Okay, this is the property used over here. We use this type of, there's a difference, this is a difference over here. So you can have a habit of taking notes. Okay, children, try to develop that habit. It will be very, very useful for you. Okay, so now here I am going to use the property argument of z1 into z2 is equal to argument of z1 plus argument of z2. Okay, I am going to mention over here the property. I'll just mention here. Just take down the step. So this is argument of x1 plus I y1 plus argument of x2 plus I y2 plus dot 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 plus argument of xn plus I y1 is equal to argument of a plus ib. So what is the property used here? Argument of z1, z2 is equal to argument of z1 plus argument of z2. Write down the property. I hope you are clear. It's visible. Yes, children? Yes, you can find it. So I have just given the argument on both sides. Then I have just used the property, that's all. And I have mentioned the property over there. Argument of z1 into z2 is equal to argument of z1 plus argument of z2. Okay, now we are going to just move ahead. Okay, so now we are going to apply the formula of argument. Here in the previous case we applied the formula for modulus. Similarly here we are going to apply the formula for argument. So what is the formula for argument? The formula is, you have to use the formula for alpha, children. What was the formula for alpha? Tan inverse modulus y by x. Yes, children? Do you remember that formula? Alpha is equal to tan inverse mod of y by x. Similarly, you are going to use this formula over here. So what is the y part here? The y part is y1 and what is the x part here? x1. So what you get here? For the first part I get tan inverse mod of y1 upon x1 plus tan inverse mod of, the y part is y2 and the x part is x2. So y2 upon x2 plus dot 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 plus tan inverse n and n, children. So yn and xn. Yn upon xn, this is equal to tan inverse of b by a. So I have used a modulus over here. Tan inverse y upon x1 plus tan inverse mod of y2 upon x2 plus dot 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 tan inverse yn upon xn is equal to tan inverse modulus b by a. And you know the meaning of modulus, you have to get the answer as positive. That is, when you remove the number from the modulus sign or from the absolute sign, you are going to get a positive answer. So you have one more step over here. So this is equal to, therefore, or I just put here, therefore tan inverse. I am just going to remove the modulus sign because you know that if I remove a value from the modulus sign, I am going to get a positive value. So I have just put here tan inverse y1 upon x1. You just use a bracket, no need to put a modulus sign. I have changed the modulus sign in terms of bracket. Same way, continue for the remaining terms. Tan inverse y2 upon x2, tan inverse yn upon xn is equal to tan inverse b by a. So we have still not completed our statement, children. We have some more work to be done, yes. So just write down till here. Okay, so what you do over here is, you just put here plus 2k pi. We have seen the alternate form. What is the alternate form we have seen? We have to just add 2k pi, what is that? We added 2k pi, yes, to the theta, to the angle part. Same way here also, for the LHS part, no need to do anything. For the RHS part, you just add here 2k pi and mention here k belonging to z. So once you remove the modulus sign, you just add with 2k pi and put here k belonging to z. Still we have one more step to be done. We have to just write down this in terms of the summation, that's all. And once we write that part, the proof part is done. So just complete till here, children. So what we get here, tan inverse y1 upon x1 plus tan inverse y2 upon x2 plus tan inverse yn upon xn. This is equal to tan inverse b by a, and you have to just add with a 2k pi. This is the alternate form. You have already seen this in the previous cases. We just add 2k pi to the angle part. So k belonging to z. Okay, so now let's complete the final statement. So now just see here, we have here all the additions. This is a summation. When you add everything, that we call it a summation. So now here, what are the terms we are having over here? That means we are having the terms from 1, that is y1, x1. So we have 1, then we have 2, and it goes till n. So the summation is from 1 to n terms. So how many terms are present here totally? We have y1 to yn term, and similarly you have x1 to xn term. And all the sign, what is the sign over here? It plus. So how you are going to write down in the form of summation? So let's see how to write down the summation part in this rule. So this is summation. Okay, I'll just put here summation. And what do you have here? Tan inverse. I'm just going to take as yr upon xr. Generally, that is, we have the value of y. That is, it takes the value from 1 to n. So y1, y2, y3, it goes till yn. So generally what I'm going to use here, instead of using 1 to n, I'm going to use a term r. So this is yr upon xr. Now what is the value for r? The value for r is from 1 to n. I hope you're clear with the step, children. So what are we going to do here? So here we have the plus term. So we are going to add all the tan inverse term. And it is like a tan inverse y1 upon x1, y2 upon x2, and so on. So we are going to try to write down the LHS part in the form of summation. So you just put here summation sign. Tan inverse, we have y1 to yn, we have x1 to xn. So generally we are going to give it as yr. So 1 to n term is represented as yr. Similarly x1 to xn is represented as xr. Now we have to mention the value for r, because this is a new value we are introducing over here. We were having 1 to n, but we were not having r. So we are introducing new term r over here. So we have to mention the value for r. So what is the value for r? The r takes the value 1 to n. See children, very easy. R is equal to 1 to n. Tan inverse yr upon xr. This is general form. So this is equal to tan inverse b by a plus 2k pi. I'll put here k belonging to z. I'll put here k belonging to z. Hence, show. That's all. So we have completed the second subpart also. So we have completed our sum number 3. I hope you were clear with this sum, children. Was it clear, children? Yes, I hope. We have done very slow. We have just gone very slowly. And for the first subpart, we have used the properties of modulus. And for the second subpart, we have used the properties of argument. And that's all. So we have completed our sum number 3. And now you have question number 4 as your homework. You have to complete sum number 4. Exercise 2.7. Sum number 4 is your homework. Okay, children? Okay, now you are going to take down the fifth sum. Take down the fifth sum. If cos alpha, you can just take both the parts together, the first one and the second one together. We are not going to prove the first and the second part separately. We are going to prove it directly. We are going to prove it together. So just take the two parts together. Write on the question. If cos alpha plus cos beta plus cos gamma is equal to sin alpha plus sine beta plus sine gamma is equal to 0, show that the first part is cos 3 alpha plus cos 3 beta plus cos 3 gamma is equal to 3 cos alpha plus beta plus gamma, and sine 3 alpha plus sine 3 beta plus sine 3 gamma is equal to 3 sine alpha plus beta plus gamma. Just write down the question, children. You have to take both the subparts together. We are going to prove them together. Okay, let's go for the sum number 5. So I'm going to write on the given part first of all. So what was given to us? Cos alpha plus cos beta plus cos gamma is equal to sin alpha plus sin beta plus sin gamma is equal to 0. So both the values are 0. So I'm just going to write down this way. So write down given cos alpha plus cos beta plus cos gamma is equal to 0. You know how to put gamma and all, yes? Is equal to 0. Put this as equation number 1. Then write down sin alpha plus sin beta plus sin gamma is equal to 0. This is number 2. Just put like a R, like a crow is flying out. We mostly use this symbol for the birds. When we draw scenery, we use this symbol to represent the birds are flying. Yes, children? So you just use here gamma. So this is alpha. ALPH, you would have used in your physics, yes? This is beta and this is gamma, GAMMA, gamma. Alpha, beta, gamma. Okay. Have you taken on the two equations? So they have given you that cos alpha plus cos beta plus cos gamma is equal to 0 and sin alpha plus sin beta plus sin gamma is equal to 0. Okay, now what we are going to do here is, we are going to multiply by I to the second equation. So write down here, multiplying by I to equation 2. Multiplying by equation I. By multiplying by I to equation 2. Okay, no problem. So we'll get here I sin alpha plus I sin beta plus I sin gamma is equal to 0. Put this as number 3. So I'm just multiplying by I to equation 2. So when I multiply by I get I sin alpha, I sin beta, I sin gamma, and this is equal to 0. Anything multiplied by 0 is going to give you 0. So put that equation as 3. Put that equation as number 3. Okay, are you clear till here? So we have taken the first two equation from the given part itself, and we are just multiplying by I to the second equation. So we got a new equation over here, and now we are going to add equation 1 and equation 3. Right on, adding 1 and 3 we get. Adding 1 and 3 we get. So we are going to add 1 and 3. This is the important question. Last time they asked these questions many times. So adding 1 and 3 we get. So I'm going to add. So I'm just going to add the, I'm going to take the alpha terms together, I'm going to take the beta terms together, and I'm going to take the gamma terms together. So what I get here, cos alpha plus I sin alpha. So I have just added the alpha term, then I'm going to take the beta term. So I get cos beta plus I sin beta plus cos gamma plus I sine gamma is equal to 0. Okay children, so I have added 1 and 3 over here. Okay, so we are going to consider this as Z1, this as Z2 and this as Z3. Okay, so we are going to consider cos alpha plus I sine alpha as Z1, and we are going to consider cos beta plus I sine beta as Z2, and we are going to consider cos gamma plus I sine gamma is equal to 0. Around here, we'll put here Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3 is equal to 0, where Z1 is equal to cos alpha plus I sine alpha. Similarly, fill for Z2 and Z3. Complete Z2 and complete Z3. So what is Z2? Cos beta plus I sine beta. And what is Z3? Cos gamma plus I sine gamma. Put here Z2 and put here Z3. Cos beta plus I sine beta, cos gamma plus I sine gamma. Okay. Just mention all the 3 complex numbers. I'll just put here this one, Z3 I'll write here. So Z2 is equal to cos beta plus I sine beta. Z3 is equal to cos gamma plus I sine gamma. Okay children, so we have just done some changes. That is, we just multiplied I to equation 2, then we added 1 and 3. So we got the form Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3, and we have just mentioned what is Z1, what is Z2 and what is Z3. Okay children, so now we are going to apply an identity over here. This identity we would have studied. We have studied in our 9th standard. So just recollect that identity over here. So we are going to use the identity. If A plus B plus C is equal to 0, then A cube plus B cube plus C cube is equal to 3ABC. This is the formula you are going to apply. What is the formula you are going to apply? If A plus B plus C is equal to 0. If you get all the 3 terms to be 0, the sum of all the 3 terms is 0, then you can say A cube plus B cube plus C cube is equal to 3ABC. So we are going to apply this identity over here, and we are going to simplify it further. So now what is here given here? A plus B plus C, and instead of A plus B plus C, what do you have here? You have Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3 is equal to 0. So what do you get? Therefore, Z1 cube plus Z2 cube plus Z3 cube is equal to 3 Z1, Z2, Z3. I hope you are clear from identity. Okay, so we are using an identity. What is the identity we are using here? If A plus B plus C is equal to 0, then A cube plus B cube plus C cube is equal to 3ABC. So I am just going to use this identity for the complex number. So Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3 is equal to 0. So you can just change that in terms of Z1 cube plus Z2 cube plus Z3 cube is equal to 3 Z1, Z2, Z3. Okay children, now here we are going to do everything separately, and then we are going to put everything together. Otherwise you will be getting a very lengthy statement. So now what I am going to do is I am going to take the LHS part, and I am going to find out the value for Z1 cube plus Z2 cube and Z3 cube together, and then I will be finding the value for 3 times Z1, Z2, Z3. Okay children, so let us take the LHS part. So what is LHS? Z1 cube plus Z2 cube plus Z3 cube. So I am going to write them separately. I will find what Z1 separately, I will find Z2 cube separately, and I will find Z3 cube separately. So Z1 cube is equal to, I am going to take the Z1 cube part. What is Z1 children? Cos alpha plus I sine alpha, the whole cube. This is the substitution. What is Z1? Z1 we have taken as cos alpha plus I sine alpha, and now you have to find cube. So I am just putting a cube over here. Now you just refer the same page, that exercise page. you have to refer page number 83. You have to see the box over there. Can you see a box over there, children? You have a De Moivre theorem there. Can you see that De Moivre theorem? Yeah, see what is the De Moivre theorem? Given any complex number cos theta plus I sin theta and any integer n. So if you have cos theta plus I sin theta the whole raised to n, it will be turned out as cos n theta plus I sin n theta. So what is that? If you have cos theta plus I sin theta the whole raised to n, you can write it as cos of n theta plus I sin n theta. Are you getting the point? That is, the power will be added along with the theta. So you get cos n theta plus I sin n theta. Getting the point, children? Okay. Now we are going to use this theorem for finding the answer. So let's find the answer. So what will be the answer, children? So I told you that n will be added along with the theta, or the here what is in place of theta? Here we have alpha. So what do you get here? So this is equal to cos 3 alpha plus I sin 3 alpha. So this is the answer for Z1 cube. I'll put here from which theorem I am getting this? From De Moivre theorem. Okay. So now you are going to write down the value for Z2 cube and you are going to write down the value for Z3 cube. Come on, get the answer for Z2 and Z3 cube. Find out the value for Z2 cube and Z3 cube. Okay, children, I hope you have completed the work. It's very simple. The sum looks very confusing. The sum may look very big or lengthier, but when you just go on doing the step, you get the answers. Very easy proof. Okay, so what is the answer for Z2 cube? I'll just write the answer. No need to mention the theorem again. Once we have mentioned the name of the theorem, so enough. No need to go for again and again the same statement. So just write down the answers here. So this is cos 3 beta plus I sin 3 beta, and here you get cos 3 gamma plus I sin 3 gamma. Okay, so we have completed, or we have found the value for Z1 cube plus Z2 cube and Z3 cube. So I am going to put this together. So I am going to substitute the value for LHS over here. Write down the value for LHS, children. What do you get here? So therefore, cos 3 alpha plus I sin 3 alpha plus cos 3 beta plus I sin 3 beta plus cos 3 gamma plus I sin 3 gamma. So this is the LHS. You can put here therefore LHS is equal to, or you can put therefore Z1 cube plus Z2 cube plus Z3 cube is equal to. Okay. So Z1 cube plus Z2 cube plus Z3 cube is equal to, you are going to add all the three answers. So I get cos 3 alpha plus I sin 3 alpha, cos 3 beta plus I sin 3 beta, and cos 3 gamma plus I sin 3 gamma. So we have completed the LHS part. Now let us focus for the RHS part, children. So let's take the RHS part. What is the RHS part? 3 times Z1, Z2, Z3. 3 times Z1, Z2, Z3. So substitute the value for Z1, Z2, Z3. Come on, go for the substitution. So what do you get here? This is equal to 3 Z1. What is Z1? Cos alpha plus I sin alpha. This is, I'll just put a whole bracket over here. Then cos beta plus I sin beta, cos gamma plus I sine gamma. So I have just substituted the value for Z1, Z2, Z3. Come on, substitute the value, children. So now here we are going to use a property. Let's see what property can be used over here. So this is Z1 into Z2 into Z3. So we have already used the property of polar form. Do you remember the property of polar form, children? Yeah, if you have two complex number, like if you have the complex number Z1 and Z2, so you can multiply Z1 into Z2 and you can say it as like you had, we were having R1 into R2 cos of theta 1 plus theta 2 plus I sine theta 1 plus theta 2. Do you remember this property? Yes, this was the property of polar form. So if you have two complex numbers separately, we can multiply them. So how are you going to multiply? You get, you have to multiply the modulus part. Here we don't have R value, so you can just consider it as 1. So then you have to take all the angles of cos and you have to take all the angles of sine together, like cos of alpha. Here what you have? Beta. Here you have gamma. Here you get alpha, beta, gamma and so on. Okay, children? So we are going to apply the property of polar form. Let's see what we get over here. So this is equal to, so I'll put here, this is equal to 3 as it is, cos of alpha plus beta plus gamma plus I sine alpha plus beta plus gamma. Okay, children? So I'm going to give this 3 to both the terms. So I get 3 cos alpha plus beta plus gamma plus I 3 sine alpha plus beta plus gamma. You can just mention here, this is properties of polar form. Polar form. For properties of polar form. So how you get? From the property. So we are just applying the property of polar form. So what do you get there? 3 cos alpha plus beta plus gamma plus I 3 sine alpha plus beta plus gamma. So now what are we going to do is, we are going to take the LHS part and the RHS part together, because I just took them separately because I just cannot put everything together. So I have taken the LHS part and RHS part separately. Now I am going to put them together. Okay, I am going to put them together and I am going to try to get the required proof part. Okay, I'll just put here. So I'll say, therefore, what was that first part? So this part, yes, this part is equal to this part. Z1 cube plus Z2 cube plus Z3 cube is equal to 3Z1, Z2, Z3. So I'll put here, therefore, cos 3 alpha plus I sine 3 alpha plus cos 3 beta plus I sine 3 beta plus cos 3 gamma plus I sine 3 gamma is equal to 3 cos alpha plus beta plus gamma plus I 3 sine alpha plus beta plus gamma. So we have mostly arrived at the proof part. So we have just reaching the final step. So just stay on the steps, children. I hope you were clear with the LHS part, how we found the answer. For Z1 cube plus Z2 cube plus Z3 cube, we use the De Moivre theorem, and for RHS we use the properties of polar form. Okay, children? So what I have done here, I have written the LHS and the RHS together. So now what I am going to do is, I am going to write the real part together. That means I am going to write the term without I, and I am going to write the term with I together for the LHS part. So I get here cos 3 alpha plus cos 3 beta plus cos 3 gamma. I am just writing the term without I, and now I am going to take the term with I. So I will take I common here, plus I sine 3 alpha plus sine 3 beta plus sine 3 gamma. This is equal to 3 cos alpha plus beta plus gamma plus I 3 sine alpha plus beta plus gamma. Nothing, I have just separated the terms. I have taken the term without I, then I have written the term with I. So I have taken I common, and this is the RHS part as it is. Now comes the final step. Now here we have to show two parts, eh, children? So now what are you going to do is you are going to equate the real part and you are going to take the imaginary part. So when you equate the real part, so this part, see, this is the real part, that is without I. So this will be equal to this part, right? Are you getting my point? Cos 3 alpha plus cos 3 beta plus cos 3 gamma. This will be equal to 3 cos alpha plus beta plus gamma. That's what we have to prove, yes, children? Yes, that's what we have to show. So cos 3 alpha plus cos 3 beta plus cos 3 gamma is equal to 3 cos alpha plus beta plus r if I equate the real part. And if I equate the imaginary part, I'll get sin 3 alpha plus sin 3 beta plus sin 3 gamma is equal to, just do not consider the I, leave I. You get 3 sin alpha plus beta plus gamma. That's all. Okay, children? Let's complete our answer. Write down. Let's write down. Therefore, equating real part and imaginary part. Equating a real part and imaginary part, we get, what do you get? This is a real part without the item and without the item. So cos 3 alpha plus cos 3 beta plus cos 3 gamma is equal to 3 cos alpha plus beta plus gamma. So when you, I'll just put here respectively, okay? Equating real part and imaginary part respectively. Respectively means the first one is for real one and the second one will be for the imaginary one, okay? And go for the imaginary part. This is the part. Do not take I. So sin 3 alpha plus sin 3 beta plus sin 3 gamma is equal to here 3 sin alpha plus beta plus gamma. Yes, children? So we have proved the solution. That is, what was the proof part? We have to show cos 3 alpha plus cos 3 beta plus cos 3 gamma is equal to 3 cos alpha plus beta plus gamma, sin 3 alpha plus sin 3 beta plus sin 3 gamma is equal to 3 sin alpha plus beta plus gamma. So this is what we have to show. So what was the thing over here? We started with the LHS part. We found the value for LHS. Then we took the RHS. We found the value for RHS. Then we were equating the real part and the imaginary part and we got the required answer. Just say here, hence proved. Okay, children? So we have completed our sum number 5. I hope you were clear with the proof part, children. Okay. Was it clear? Yes. So now just come to the homework part. So what is your homework over here, children? So you have to complete sum number 4 from exercise 2.7. You have one more sum, that is sum number 6. Just complete one more sum as homework. That is sum number 4 and sum number 6. Okay, children, I'll just give you an idea how to complete your sum number 6. Sum number 6 is very important sum, children. You can try by yourself. You have to try. You have to use the formula for argument. Like already we have used the formula for argument for second subpart. What is the formula for argument? The formula for argument was, I'll just give you an idea over here. It's very simple. You can try the sum, that's all. You can just do it. So you will be given, what is given to you? You have been given with the value for z. What is z given to you? X plus iy. And what is the value for argument given? Argument of z minus 1 upon z plus 2 is equal to pi by 4. Okay, you try out this sum, so you'll get an idea how to do the sum. So, first of all, you're going to apply the property of argument. you have seen the property for argument z1, z2. What is the property for argument z1 into z2? Argument of z1 plus argument of z2. Okay, children? Similarly, we have a property for argument of z1 upon z2. What is it? z1 minus z2. Okay, so you have to apply the property first. After applying the property, you are going to apply the formula. What is the formula? Tan inverse mod of y by x. So you will substitute the value for z here. You will substitute the value for z here. Then what are you going to do? You are going to take the real part separately and the imaginary part separately. The real part will be the value for x. The imaginary part will be the value for y. So you have to apply the value for tan inverse y by x. And then you have to apply the formula for tan inverse. Okay, I'll just tell you which page to refer. You just take down your unit 4, children. Take unit 4. In unit 4, you have to come for the tangent part. Take down the tangent part. I'll just tell you the page number. Yeah, you have to come to page tangent. See the inverse of tangent. Yeah, it's given in page 158, children. Come to page 158. Come to page 158. There you have to use a property. You will be using the property number 6. Property 6. Can you see a heading over there? Property 6. From property 6, under property 6, you are going to use the 6th sub property. That is, you have to use the property for tan inverse y minus tan inverse x. Tan inverse x minus tan inverse y. Okay, so you will be using this formula. So I am just giving you a hint so that you can try out the sum. So apply the formula and you try to simplify it and you will get the answer. Okay, children? So I want you to try out sum number 6. So what is the work today? You are going to complete sum number 4 and sum number 6. With this, we completed our exercise 2.7 and we have one more exercise which is 2.8, and we will be continuing with exercise 2.8 in the next class.